Hey, so I want to circle back on Nvidia. Last time we looked at them was July 30th. Earnings are coming up pretty soon. It's scheduled for about August 23rd. So uh, we'll take a look, kind of get prepared into what we were going to expect for that. Uh, Probably going to look into this company again before earnings to get a more deep dive. But yeah, what we've noticed is it's gone from 467, a price we didn't like on July 30th. It's now pulled all the way down to 408. So we'll see if now is a good time to buy. If it's not, what is a good time to buy? But otherwise, yeah, we're going to start looking into uh, what we can expect for this upcoming quarter. Quarter two's ending August 23rd. We'll take a look at the news, what's been going on for the past roughly 2 weeks. And then we'll close out with the technical analysis to again answer that question: is 408 a good time to buy, or when is a good time to buy? So, just jumping into what we can kind of expect, this was NVIDIA's guidance right here saying that they were expecting $11 billion for this quarter. We'll see what they actually produce. And the analysts were all projecting about 7 billion, but they're saying 11 billion. Uh, Again, here's the analyst. This must have been, well, this was roughly last time we looked at them, around July 21st. Um, they were projecting $10 billion. They upped that again. And this was actually, we pulled this before, um, or no, we pulled this after earnings. So they revised it twice. First, it went from, that $7 billion figure up to 10, and now they're saying close to 11, which was what Nvidia said. So no real issues there. This one, uh, I'd have to double check. 43. They're probably on pace, but again, they need to stay accelerated. This earnings, they're definitely behind, but if they can put together a $2 or more, which also was an upgrade from 187 to 206, if they can continue that for the rest of the year, earnings per share should be within range. So some of the news that we're looking into, NVIDIA recently backed a startup. There's a note here saying CoreWeave. I'm not sure if that rings a bell, but we touched on it last time, and this is a cloud provider and could be similar to an AWS, an Azure, or a cloud from Amazon, Google, Microsoft. But anyway, so they are NVIDIA. This CoreWeave, they're using NVIDIA's chips as collateral. They raised $2.3 billion for this. Not sure what they needed, but apparently that collaboration and that chip is so, I guess, powerful or worth its weight in gold, because those chips, it's saying the company is using NVIDIA's H1 GPUs as collateral. It's not the full 2.3. I'm not sure what portion, but it is a portion. So just interesting to see that. They also came out with a new super chip platform. We've definitely mentioned this name in the past, Grace Hopper. I'm not sure what generation this one is, but it's a model with lots of memory, and it should be very helpful for AI. So that was brought up. Next, we have Chinese companies order a ton of NVIDIA chips, roughly $5 billion, amid the fear that the US is going to curb their AI ambitions. Haven't heard too much about this. Probably will learn more when we shift to the semiconductors as a whole. But yeah, there's US curbs some China uh, ability to get AI chips, NVIDIA being one of those companies that they had to say, hey, you can't sell certain products. NVIDIA found a workaround where essentially if they sell two lower level chips, they can kind of equate into one super chip that they're not allowed to sell. And I don't know if the ratio is right, the 2 to 1, but there's some sort of ratio like that where you can kind of get a close match to that one powerful chip if you buy multiple lower powered ones. Uh, and of course, the US is thinking of pruning that back, so you can't do that workaround. No, haven't heard anything since about it, but this is clearly a play China's doing. They know they want Nvidia's chips anyways, so it's not like I don't think they would back out of this deal, but this is kind of showing Nvidia we want to keep this going. So they want to put in $1 billion worth of chips, and we have Alibaba, Baidu, BitDance, and Tencent. They're all ordering about $1 billion worth of these chips from Nvidia, these A800 processors to be delivered this year, and they're also promising another $4 billion in additional graphics processing units for 2024, which is a decent amount of revenue for this company. Again, we're currently projecting $11 billion for the quarter. Here's a deal that's worth $5 billion over the next 2 years. Decent chunk here. And of course, that could all disappear if the government decides to trim back their AI curb or AI kind of restrictions. We'll see how this plays out, but this seems like a positive thing for Nvidia. And it's an interesting play, but overall it seems good for Nvidia here. And the last piece is down here. As we mentioned, Nvidia's pulled back quite a bit to 408 roughly. And someone just a couple days ago, GQG Partner, they bought $5.9 billion of this company just 2 days ago. So they're apparently liking the price. Let's take a look ourselves if we like this price. So let me get this out of the way, and we'll just zoom in here. So last time we looked at them was July 30th. So if we find that point, that's roughly here. We had 467. That's pretty much the end of the week. So it's really just since then, it pulled back down to like 450, and now here we are at 408. Not much has changed here. I'm looking at the buy points I had at 425 and 434. Those are very high, considering where the green line is. Looking at, so 425, it looks like there was some support. There's not much to go off of, seeing as this company continues to hit new highs with each coming month. Sometimes week by week, it just keeps going higher. It did kind of flatten at 425, 424. So we felt like that was somewhat of a support period. And then 434, the best I can figure is, I'm looking at the note that we left ourselves, that it's been in this uptrend since January. That is still true. It's just in May, I'm guessing that's when it released its last earnings, that it just popped. It took a step up, going from this range of about 306 to 351, so like a $45 range. It then accelerated from 350 to like 394, so like a $45 range. It took a step up from this first 50 to now $100 essentially. We added a level to the range, and it was trading at that top $50 range for months since May. Finally, it pulled back, and so that's kind of the thinking behind the 434 buy point was because it's trading in this upper half, that would be like the first time I would consider it. The second time was 425, just below it. But ideally, we wanted it at this green buy point. So I can already just tell this one's going to be a buy for me. So I'm just going to start updating it. So now we're at 408. The buy points for this, going into next week, just looking at the bottom of the channel, that'd be 408. It's at 408. That's like perfect. So we're going to put in 408. That's going to be our figure that we're watching. So like first thing, that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. 425, I'll keep that in. It's obviously below that point. So I'm just saying if it trades between 408 and 425 during the next week, 2 weeks, I think that's decent time to just pick up some shares of this. We also have 434. That was the blue mark. So if we just look at next week, because I'm hoping to be a little more routine with this one, with following Nvidia, next week would be like 453. Uh, that would kind of be, I would say, resistance at this point. Um, or I guess I'll just take out the figure. We'll just have 408 and 425. Keep it simple. I do want to note that if this one breaks through that green kind of support uptrend, this could easily pull back to like 228. You know, I'm just looking down. It's grown so much so fast that uh, not much support below it. I realize there's going to be a day where the uptrend does break. I don't think it's going to pull back to this level of like 228 or 265. I We won't know until it does it, but if it were to break, I wouldn't necessarily wait for 265. I might tack on like $10, $20 on that to be like 285. I might pick some up there. If it pulls back, I would add on. That's of course hypothetical. We'll see how this plays out. Right now, we're just going to treat it as a dip because that's what it is. It's near a buy marker, so we'll pick it up and we'll just play it as we go. But 408, I like that. Resistance, we have 469. 469, not sure exactly why that was chosen. We also have 513. Again, another figure I'm not sure where that came from. All I can say is for this week, going into next week, resistance is at about 495. So I'm just going to update 469 to 495. And that's really all we have. I guess the other point is clearly, I'll just put a little line in here. Soft resistance at about 469. So maybe that's where the number came from. So 469 and 490. We'll update the date here to today. Earnings are scheduled to be out in about 10 days. And then looking back at our notes, in an uptrend since January, yes, that's still true. Accelerated uptrend in the end of May of 23 after Q1 earnings and Q2 guidance. That was true. That seems to be gone. So I'm just going to, I guess I'll leave it in until we get next earnings. It's not taking up too much space. And then we also mentioned to buy the dips on this. And we're currently in a dip, so I do plan on picking this up. So just a quick recap here here we go. Just a quick recap here. We have Nvidia here at the second line. I just selected the sell, so currently it's at 408. Buy point for me is 408 and 425. 408 is the point of interest. That's where we are, so I like it. Resistance 469. That is currently all-time highs. 495 would be the top of the uptrend. So right now 469 is interesting to me. I don't think it'll really slow this one down over the next, say, month or two, barring something crazy with the earnings. But that's the point of interest for right now. Earnings again about 10 days from now. And then in that uptrend since January, kind of accelerated from May to about last week. So we're in this dip. So we'll just play it like that. But yeah, if you have any questions or want to leave any comments, feel free to do that. I'd be happy to read it. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.